Sorry about this.
Right, so this is Chatterwood development, 85 houses. Basically, earlier in the year, for most of the start of the year, I think we had a massive archaeological dig across the whole site. Obviously, Colchester, you know, a lot of potential for Roman artefacts. But we started the work on the development in June. The groundwork has first started. There's an enormous amount of groundwork gone in before we even started building any houses. There's all the foul water drainage goes all the way up to the pumping station at the bottom of the site and then gets pumped all the way back up to the start of the site. There's sort of 3 metre deep manholes running right from the bottom, gradually getting shallower as they work their way towards the top. There's permeable driveways on most of the site, so there's like water soakaways underneath the roads. There's just a hell of a lot had to get done before we could even start to build anything. The first foundations went in August, and the first bricks were laid in September. We've got the houses are at various different points, as you can see. If you look behind you, that is what we call cluster 1. So the house just on your left and your right there, and then those houses in front of you were the first ones we started. That's cluster 1. These ones here, down towards the woodland, are cluster 2. You see, quite a few of them are only at half height. The reason for that is we've got to, from around the 15th of November, we're tarmacking all the roads on that side of the site, which is going to block off quite a lot of the site, but we've also then got to get the services connections, which is the main water and the mains electricity. There used to be overhead power cables run across the site, actually went from Beth Chateau's to the houses there. We couldn't build much on that side because of obviously using cranes or having scaffold near it, because of the arcing from the electric cables. So
Close.
yeah, very close. So we basically got to dig all trenches in front of all the houses we've already built. We've been lucky, we've been able to duct in front of these ones, but we've got to dig across in front of all these houses down here. So it's kind of plays with our build program a little bit. So we've got cluster 2 to this stage. We've started on cluster 3. You know, maybe sometimes you have to jiggle things around. So we might have to work on one house on cluster 3 ahead of schedule. But you're sort of at the whim of the service providers. They'll come and put their water and electric in when they say they're going to, and you've just got to work with that really. So
We can't go any higher on these because, as you can see from here, scaffolding comes out 1.5 to 2 metres from the building. But as you can see on this side of the road here, we've ducted on this side. On this side of the road, we've got electric from DC. On that side of the road, there's water, lighting balloons for street lights, and again PT. So we can't go on that side. Basically, it's got water, electric, and it'll go BT.
I think the water's in about, basically bottom of the trench is about 1 metre deep. So you know you can't have a trench that deep that close to the scaffold, obvious safety reasons. So anyway, the plan is, you know, we've got those. We're up to roof height on the first ones we started building.
You guys, architects or trained to architects?
I'm sorry. What's BT? BT board?
British Telecom, yeah.
BT broadband.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So, just so you can see what Doug was referring to earlier on, what we class as clusters. Basically, a phasing plan. We have cluster 1 is these 5 blocks here, which as you can see are those ones there. So the roof trusses where they're going up, so you can see is that block there. Blocks 1, 2 and 3. And those guys, brickies now get up to plate height for trusses to go on. That's our 4th lift on 70 to 71, 69. 68, obviously those guys haven't gone far enough on that one yet. And obviously then 52 on that one. They're on 3rd lift at the moment to then get up to plate height on that one. And then 43 on that one there is at joist height. They'll just put joist on. So cluster 2. Sorry, cluster 2 then is down here. These row or bank 7, which starts on this one and where we are here. Where the scaffold is here and it goes fully back that way. And we can show you different stages of build over here, where what we call is that's cluster 1, cluster 2. This is our cluster 3. These ones now being laid with block and beam on these 2 today. These ones, the oversights are up, so they've got 2 block and beam heights. And then another stage of cluster 4 is this one. These ones over here, we've poured that one, and that foundation, which you can't really see because the groundwork is doing the permanent pavement at the moment. But you can kind of see it when you walk back through the pathway through here. But as we go around there now, we can see block and beam being laid now as we speak, and then the oversight gang will complete that today now. Yeah, they're over here now. So you can see different stages of the build basically. So you can see that's almost up, and that's literally coming out of the ground as well.
See the grey stone through here, when we walk up and you look to the left, the grey stone, it's all through the road. Essex Highways have to come and they do what are called dip tests at every stage. So when they dig off for the road, we put a concrete curb round, and then they'll check the depths, and we've also had plate tests on it as well. So a guy comes in and basically jacks up the back of his lorry on a steel pad, and then pressure tests it to make sure the ground is solid enough to take the road build up. They then put in the grey stone, they put some Taram weed control barrier down. They put the grey stone in, that's all rolled, and again Essex Highways have been out and checked the depths on that this morning. We can't, I mean it looks like a nice thing to walk on, but the groundworkers go mad if you walk on it because it's all been rolled. Even though it's just a load of stones, it's all been rolled and they don't like anywhere near it. If we walk you up around the corner, we'll show you these plots that are at the.
So when you're talking about the block and beam, because they're student architects,
We'll show you.
they probably don't know what block and beam is yet, but they will.
Right, well, do you want to show them how when it's finished up here, quickly, then? So,
Yeah. Is that right? Yeah.
Block and beam is basically your floor, your floor. So if you go over here, you can see. Literally, it's a very simple concept. These are your beams, these are your blocks. So we call them block and beam. Very simple flooring. Your beams will lay on your internal block work. So underneath this, what we call this 2 courses of blockets, what we call a screed rail. So we've got underfloor heating. So it's quite simple. Every brick course is 75mm. So that's going to be our 75mm. Certex goes on top up to here. Then I've got our screed, then go up to here. So that's why we all call this a screed rail. And our beams will literally go and sit to that point there, so it does not breach a cavity. Underneath all the insulation, there'll be a cavity fill which will slope that way outside your house. Obviously on each set of these, your telescopic air vents go underneath the void.
There's a void underneath
your block and beam.
Yeah, 225mm void underneath the block and beam floor.
Using block and beam rather than pouring concrete floors.
Yes.
Because it's cheaper or faster. Or?
Personally, I prefer it because you can move the pipework around underneath it easier. If there's a situation where you know, could even be a kitchen design change, and they move a waste. They want to move a waste pipe. You know, you can lift the blocks and work underground to move the pipe. If you have a precast slab, you can't do that. You can't cut through the slabs because they're all, you know, cast with wires in them for tension. So I prefer block and beam.
Good.
Yeah, because if it's proper concrete, it's hard to, like you say, to change. That SVP there was in the wrong position going up. Just one of the SVPs, the whole run needs to go through the roof. About the tallest point, that's go through the roof. So that one's in the wrong position going up. So obviously that will probably service. That'll do your kitchen. That will service utility room, and that'll probably go up to your bathroom above.
Yeah.
If that's not the right position in the corner, it'll just look wrong, especially a new build. If that's the wrong position,
True,
then ruins your build.
Great.
Right.
Thanks.
We'll pop around to where the block and beam is going on.
Doors there.
It's quite high.
No, but it's, so this is up to damp. So, so literally on finish, that's not your finished road height. Don't forget that's
okay,
still
so
base
the
course.
finish. So you're gonna
So
fill it up.
literally, the finished hut will be here. The drawings. Every single house has got slabs. So you have 2 slabbed walkway from here to the road, and then there'll be a 1200mm square platform standing flat from that sill, and that goes down from Lampsey Road.
Okay.
So there will be no step.
Say cheese.
That's how the house builders will approach you. And very nice. You haven't got your own back. Okay, let's all go on one side.
Looks fun.
So yeah, basically concrete foundations are poured down there. Oh right, okay. Gonna need you to move right over.
You stop time for 5 minutes. See what come across? So this is what Duncan was talking about earlier. This is oversight. So I'm going to see from here, but there's your foundation of your house. We do 2 courses of blocks, get block and beam height. I'll show you around over there. So block and beam will be laid on your internal course. Cavity fill goes out. And obviously what we call a splash course up the damp will be then your 4 courses of bricks, your face work. And then as you can see, literally go up.
On this site, we've had to, on certain plots, only had 1 course of blocks and then built the bricks up from lower down because there's such a slope across the site. Some levels are going to be exposed more than others. Shingle is, you probably know, is to go around all the drainage pipes. So this will be left at this stage. Then the groundworks team will come in, put through the water pipes, the foul pipes, concrete them in position. Then the block and beam goes on. And then they come round, connect up all around the outsides to the manholes and everything like that.
Cool.
Any,
looks quite
any
small.
questions?
It looks quite small.
They always do. It's the
Yeah,
weirdest
it's
thing
weird,
with
isn't
houses.
it? Yeah.
They look so small and then suddenly
And then-
they look big. And
I was going to say, when I was a trainee architect, the first, I did a boarding school, right? Another time, I was burst in tears. I was going to do it all wrong.
it's doing the back up.
It just looked so small, didn't it?
How can you
Even
fit a house
one of the
there?
biggest ones over there, the white brick there, D13, house type 13 we call it. That's 4 bedrooms, but it's quite open space downstairs. The study could be a bedroom if you want to, but it could be 5. But yeah, that's a really big plot. And then when the footprint and the foundation was being poured, we just thought, this is wrong. We got to take measure. This is not right. And it is.
The red
right.
check.
It is right.
These ones here, there's only 2 terraces like this, and they're 2 beds. They're the smallest plots, but the most complicated build of the lot of them. They're the only ones with the valley detail, the triple gables on the front and back, and they're really complicated. Working out the falls and the design for the box gutters, how it ties in. Because they're terraces, we built it to something you come across robust detail, which is basically a design that prevents the sound transfer from one terrace to another, and the fire breaks. So we've got to follow that detail all the way through. And there's just a lot of different bits and pieces in those. They're the smallest house, but the most complicated.
So on that, on your party wall, your obviously a traditional wall, you've got to do block work, and you've got then an insulation in the middle, you've got to do a parge coat, you've got to do basically a splash coat of concrete on either side to help prevent sound basically.
With different strength blocks on the party wall, different type of block on the party wall to the rest of the house.
A lot more dense.
They're not much more. They're 3.6. They're 4 Newton as opposed to a 3.6.
Okay.
So it's barely anything, but it's enough to make it awkward and
Make enough
make
awkward for the brickies anyway, put it that way.
You're very clear on the design to the bricklayers and check everything to make sure they haven't used the wrong blocks in the wrong place.
Yeah. They've loaded them out before, the long blocks, haven't they? It was so close going up the long blocks. They look the same, you see.
Yeah.
They literally look the same. You can just about see the difference. So I've got like a scratch effect. You probably can't really see from here, but you can see from here 2 different tones. One's light inside and one's dark on the external.
Any questions?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. What size is this one? Or if you could say, is this a 3-bed?
This is a 3-bed with a carport. So there's a carport linked between the 2 houses, and they've got bedrooms above.
We're here, that footprint there. Like that. Sorry, running on a footprint now. What we said to the other group was for sustainability wise, which I know you guys are here to have chatters. So for us being sustainable as best we can as builders, we've got air source heat pumps.
There's no
It's a little
gas
bit
on
different.
site at all.
No gas. We're trying to not future proof, but thinking ahead of the future. Every garage, which is basically every single pot has its own garage, has its own electrical duct and cable going there for an electric car charger. So I know everyone's going electric at some point in time. Even the terrace
Even the
blocks.
plots without the garage, they've all got their own parking space, so we're ducting from the main fuse board back to the parking spaces. So if they want to have electric car charging ports, they can.
So that's what Duncan's saying there. So wherever there's a terrace like that, it'll go through the garden and go straight to allocated parking bay. There's a bit of feed going through there. Again, it's a nice amenity to have basically. Something different.
You wouldn't want to buy one and then find your parking spaces 50 metres from your house.
Yeah. You can't use car charging.
Do you think is that the use of air source heat pumps, is that something that you do on other sites?
It's first time.
First time.
First time. Haven't even fitted one yet. First time.
What sort of size do they take up on plan?
Oh, they're about the foundation base. I remember that. So it's a little bit smaller than that. They're 1700 by 700. So I think they're about 1500 by about 500. And the best thing about the ones we've got in specs, for a bigger house, doesn't go any wider. It just goes a little bit higher. When they're about 3.5 kilowatts, 5 kilowatts.
So it's like two big suitcases or something.
Bit bigger than that, I reckon.
So from about there to about
Yeah.
basically.
For the air source heat.
Like that, like my feet. Like that.
So that's when, because you're going to be all putting those in your development, they're bigger than you think, aren't they?
Yeah, and obviously you've got to be careful with next door neighbours, for example. So it's easy when you've got a house by itself. So where you've got any house like this, it's quite simple because they can go in your back garden attached. Because where an ASOS heat pump works is you've got to duct it, so you've got so many feeds going to it. So you can see that big fat duct there. You can actually a black duct in the background. That's got to be positioned away from the house, but it's on a terrace. So here, it can't be 5 metres with another habitable room. One because of noise. Maybe because of noise.
Yeah, mainly because of noise. I mean, they're not horrendous, but they do obviously hum.
Basically, we've had to put that one there like that. So then that duct from there is fed from that point there, and it will feed out through there, which that's that right there. That literally, that's got 4, how to explain that? It's got that thermal cushioning that's expensive as well inside it.
It's very good. Pipe is very expensive. It's 3 pipes, 3 MDP pipes, 4 in lag.
Yeah, so
only
one
filled.
Yeah, so there's one hot and cold, and then there's one power, electric, and the other one's Cat 5. 4 internal pipes.
There's
the black duct inside.
There's weather sensors going on each house, north facing, and the air source heat pump will adjust how hard it works to generate the heat depending on the air temperature. So when it's warm, it can slow itself down, it won't work quite so hard to produce the heat, and when it's cold, it'll just up its production. Right, we should probably move on because the Dr. Beam was giving us a look.
With a great James Bond, so the side door. In the old days, you connected all my house.
Going out 2005. It's a selling point as well. It makes it a little bit different.
Quick point before we go back. Obviously, Best Chat has been working with us. This is a design I believe they've come up with where they're going to help with planting in the not exactly,
areas.
yeah, the public areas. That's the one. So where we're standing right there at the moment. And you can see around the plots here where they're not actually within the boundaries of the properties. Bath Chat have been working with us to come up with design planting.
Yeah.
There's loads of areas, aren't there?
Yeah.
So we were trying to compare the two, like here, along here, and try and compare the two across here. Quite easy to see once you understand. We see the site quantities that we don't
Yeah.
have back home.
So these houses here, they're going to have like 6 foot high brick garden walls around them, and then there'll be some lovely planting in between just to soften everything.
Yeah.
Is there much grass verge?
Yeah,
No.
there's some,
There's a
not a
little
lot.
bit at the front.
That's it.
Not
Round the
on
rest
this.
of the site.
No,
No, we don't like grass. So,
no,
yeah,
it's not very nice in grass, but yeah.
that's right. You've got to have plants instead. It'll be much better.
Either fine.
Do you want the photo?
Yeah, we're not, yeah. That's right.
Get everyone the photo. Which photo are we doing?
I'm sorry, I have a question. When are you going to complete everything?
2 and a bit, 2 and a quarter years to try and do it.
What, 2 years?
2 years.
We're building.
That's a lot.
85 houses in 2 years. We're
Oh,
trying to do just more
okay.
than 40 a year.
Our plan is to
That's
build
crazy.
slow, steady, nice quality, not just smash up things and sell them as quick as we can.
But some of the early ones will get sold on before you finish the last one.
100%.
What, would they start living inside, or
I'm sorry?
would they start living inside once it's sold, like after you finish?
Yeah,
Or
so
does it have
it's
to wait till
the reason
all the
why we've
houses-
done our clusters is to, for what you're saying, we were selling. So basically, it will be. So these clusters will be finished here, along there. If you make sure to try and do that, and think like that, that block will sell. So if someone wanted to finish from the main road you see behind us, they drive in, come across here, and just park up, go in their car, park up here, go in their house here. We'd then hauled off site at the bottom and across here.
Yeah.
Where you've walked from was here at the beginning. We'd then carry on with site behind here, and then carry on building along here like this, while people are living along here.
Makes sense.
a project this size, it would be practically financially impossible to build all 85 and then hand them over. But I think someone's got to pay for all of this. They can't wait to build a whole
Yeah, that's
development
true.
and then get paid at the end. So
Yeah.
But at least you got a plan. My parents in the 1970s bought the first house on an estate like this, and then we were surrounded by mud for the next 2 years.
oh, it's,
But on the other hand, that's why I became an architect, because I looked out my bedroom window every day and saw all this happening.
yeah.
So that was my
Quite one way
inspiration to
for
become
you,
an
yeah.
architect.
But that's why this is all up to base at the moment. This is what we're prioritising, so that once it does happen, this will all get fully finished, boarded off. You only really hear the odd sound which you're gonna know if you're buying the place here at the end of the day. But then that will push us to get things finished. We have our deadlines to meet. We'll be finished in the time frame. We'll be done, dusted.
By the time the first ones are sold, most of the groundwork and all the roads will be in, so all the heavy, real muddy stuff should be finished.
I'll come back in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see it
They're
finished.
still here, yeah.
Won't be here in 2 years.
Be finished by then.
Be finished.
The
I just
planting
drive
will just
through.
be looking great, won't it?
Yeah. Any other questions? No?
Thank you.
Two of you or the whole group?
Just the two, I think, is what I was told.
We do one with you two and one with the group.
I think with the light, really.